At my parents' funeral, my brother cornered me, demanding I sign over my share of the inheritance because he deserved it more. My wife looked at me and said, "I'm leaving you for your alpha brother anyways. So sign." She was smug and entitled until the lawyer opened the will and began reading the unexpected clause. The church was silent, the kind of silence that presses against your chest. I stood at the altar, staring at two polished oak caskets, one for my father, the other for my mother. Gone, both of them, within 3 days of each other. My heart was still raw, still struggling to catch up with reality. But my grief didn't get time to breathe. As I stepped away from the podium after delivering a quiet, broken eulogy, my older brother, Eric, pulled me aside near the chapel's exit, dressed in designer black, expensive sunglasses perched on his head like a trophy. He smiled, not mournfully, but triumphantly. "Hey," he said under his breath, blocking my way. "Let's not drag this out. Just sign over your share of the inheritance and keep things clean." I blinked. "What? You heard me. You've always been the soft one, the sentimental idiot. Mom and Dad wanted me to lead. You know it. It's just cleaner this way." Before I could respond, I felt a cold hand wrap around my arm. Jenna, my wife, her expression, not sympathetic, not supportive, just smug. "You should listen to him," she said without looking at me. "It's about time someone decisive took charge. I've always admired that about Eric." I turned to her slowly. "What are you saying?" She didn't blink. "I'm leaving you for your brother." My throat tightened. The funeral hadn't even ended. The incense still lingered. And my wife, my partner of 10 years, chose this moment to stab me in the chest. Eric smirked. "She deserves an alpha, not a sentimental doormat." Jenna slipped her hand into his. It felt like a staged ambush. I looked around, wondering if anyone else noticed, but the mourners were filtering out. Some crying, some quiet. No one saw the theater unfolding behind the church columns. I stared at the two people who had just thrown away a decade of loyalty and blood for some delusional fantasy of power and dominance. I said nothing. I just turned and walked away. To them, it probably looked like surrender. But in that moment, my parents' words echoed in my mind, "When the time comes, let the will speak for us." And the time was coming. 3 days later, we were all seated in the grand mahogany-paneled office of my parents' longtime attorney, Mr. Langford. Rain tapped lightly against the window, a rhythmic reminder of the storm that was about to unfold. Eric lounged in a leather chair like he owned the place, legs crossed, arm thrown over the backrest. Jenna, my ex-wife, as I had already come to see her, sat beside him, perfectly composed, one leg daintily perched over the other, her lipstick flawless, her betrayal sharper than any blade. Mr. Langford cleared his throat. "Thank you all for coming. This will be brief." He opened a thick, aged folder, and the rustling of paper seemed to echo through the room louder than necessary. I could see Eric's smirk growing with every second. He already believed he had won. Jenna leaned closer to him, whispering something in his ear. They chuckled. Langford adjusted his glasses. "As executor of Charles and Eleanor's estate, I have been instructed to read their final will, unaltered for the past 4 years. Eric clapped his hands together. "Finally, let's get this done. I have some properties to inspect after this." Langford nodded but ignored him. "To our sons," he read, "our entire estate, our house, businesses, investment portfolios, and retirement accounts, under specific conditions." Eric scoffed. "Conditions? What kind of?" Langford raised a finger. "Let me finish, Mr. Eric," the lawyer continued. "To our son Eric, for all your ambition, your relentless hunger for more, and your desire to lead, we leave you with this: nothing until 5 years of documented sobriety, employment without fraud, and character references from at least 3 unrelated individuals can be provided. You have become everything we feared, a man of greed, entitlement, and no integrity." Eric's grin shattered.